Hey everyone, it's Libby with WootRecruit, your go-to recruiting program for the high turnover industry, such as cleaning, lawn care, construction, you name it. If you are in the service-based industry, we are the YouTube channel for you. We are the first ever recruitment program that's tailored exclusively for the high turnover industry, turning recruitment into a growth engine. Stay tuned and learn to transform your hiring. Again, I'm Libby, and we have an amazing guest today who's in the service-based industry. So, Jen, introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about your business.
Hi, I'm Jen Tangeman. I own Clean by Design, and we are in lovely Portage, Michigan, and have been in business for about 15 years.
Awesome. So we are, in the WootRecruit YouTube channel, and typically we talk about, recruiting and culture and hiring, because this is one of the biggest struggles that many of us face, probably in any industry, but especially in the high turnover industries. And I want to ask Jen a question to kind of kick us off. And it's, what was your biggest hiring mistake? Like looking back, what's the one that sticks out? I mean, we've had so many, or at least I know I've had.
Right. I think the biggest mistake is just underestimating the value in a high quality candidate. And when I reached the point as a solo cleaner myself that I wanted to start recruiting people to help me, I literally thought of the task that I'm recruiting for as such a simple thing, vacuuming. Who can't vacuum? That I essentially was just looking for a warm body that would show up to work. And so, of course, through my experience, I have learned that that was a big mistake, and that that's not the kind of person or mindset I need to have towards hiring.
Awesome. So, what are some tips you could give listeners that you learned through that? I heard, you say the warm body. We hear that all the time. Oh, I just need somebody to show up, or that
Yeah,
solopreneur, right? Whether you're cleaning or you're in the trades, and that mindset that only I can do it. I'm the only one that can do it because people suck. You hear people say that, right? Or nobody wants to work, or the no one can do as good as me. How many years did you do it solo? How many years did you clean solo before you had employees?
um, probably. I mean, just a few years, and then I had a partner, and then I started recruiting help. It wasn't very long that I was completely solo.
Okay. So what are some of those tips that you could give us that you really learned to not look just for a warm body? What did you do? How did you start to change what you were looking for?
Well, through experience, I learned that I really need to look for a connection with the employee, um, and look to create an opportunity that they'll be attracted to, so that I could then attract the type of employee that I needed for my company. Um, I learned that many of the things I used to be concerned with were all trainable aspects. So you can train someone how to clean, you can train them how to vacuum, you can train them on various products and services that you offer. But it was really the values of the individual that I wanted to focus on and make sure that they aligned with our company and our vision. So that is, the best advice I can give is to get in alignment with what your values are and what your company's values are, and then look for a candidate that aligns with those values.
I love this topic because I think, and I was guilty of it too, but a lot of entrepreneurs dismiss core values as like that fluffy thing or words on a wall that are just there. And I think they hold so much weight. Every book we read, every mentor we hire or follow or sign up for teaches us. And that's the first thing they go to is core values. What are your core values? What are the core values? What's the mission? What's the vision? And when we're small or we're so busy just being busy doing day to day that I don't think we hold enough weight on those.
Yeah,
Um,
we look at our values as the foundation of everything. Everything is built on those, everything is connected to those. And I really feel that that was the turning point for my company, was developing and understanding, and then making sure that each person that joined our team could connect with those values so that our foundation could become strong. Because no matter what can go wrong up above ground, above the foundation, as long as that foundation is strong, we'll still be held together. So that's how I believe that, things have changed greatly from the warm body mode.
That's awesome. So we just recorded a podcast in fearlessness. So I recommend like you jump over and you take a listen to that. But during that podcast, you mentioned one of the proudest moments for your service company, for your cleaning, was going from what you thought was a business to being a real business. And I heard you mention something in there about going from remote to having an office. I want to know what was that like, and how did that affect the culture or your hiring for your business?
Sure. I'm very much an independent person, and I used to boast about not having an office and the freedom that I had, and the overhead that I saved. And even when I found the office that we're in today, I wasn't sure I wanted or was ready for an office. I had set a milestone: when I reach this amount of revenue, then I'll get an office. Um, and getting the office helped me realize that we were I thought we had awesome culture, but we were missing so many opportunities to come together, and really lacked that huge part of our foundation, which was a place that we could work, a place that we could meet, a place we could trust would house the things that our team needs in order to do their job. A place where we can celebrate our team. In the office next door to me, we have their photos on the wall. They can see them when they come in. And so having the office brought our leadership team together so that we can now strategize with one another. It allows us a central kind of command station that our team knows is there to support them. Maybe they get done early and they want to stop by, or maybe they need to come by before they start their jobs for the day. But it's really changed that for us. And I'm sure as we bring in a candidate to our office and our conference room, and they watch a presentation on a screen, it gives a lot more credibility to our business than the Starbucks meetings that we had once upon a time, where we would invite people to meet at random coffee shops and talk about a job. And some of them, some of them were very trusting, but some of them also were like, wait, I just meet you at a coffee shop and then I go to a job site? Wait, what?
Yeah, and I think, this is going to be a more and more popular topic because COVID changed so much for the way businesses run. For not just your regular softwares that you see like going virtual or going remote, but also for the service-based industry. I know so many residential cleaners, plumbers, electricians, commercial cleaners, even in lawn care, going more and more towards the remote setting, especially in the office positions. And I think that at the end of the day, we still need a small place to call home. And if you don't have that, that's okay. Because, I own WootRecruit and we're 100% remote. One of the biggest things I learned is the company has to be ran completely different. And we're all trying to run a hybrid or version of remote, a traditional way a company's ran. And typically that's why we have issues. That's why we don't have good culture, or things are falling through the cracks, or we don't know who's doing what, or we have high turnover. And if you just approach it that it has to be ran completely different. So I'm watching the series of The Office. I'm like an old soul. I like to rewatch reruns. And so I'm watching The Office and I'm sitting there laughing about like how much time they spend at the water cooler, or how much time they spend in the lunchroom. And I'm thinking, oh my God, but that's how culture's built in a regular company. Like if we all work at Chick-fil-A, we all show up to the same place. We can all see each other and talk to each other. But when we have these home service companies or service companies, a lot of us are working in a version of or a hybrid of remote, because our field techs go from their home to the first home, come in sometimes. And this year's been a great lesson, like learning of, I am now transitioning to run Organize It as a remote company, even though we have an office, to get more engagement from our technicians who are in the field or don't come. And all it is more structure. It's planned culture versus culture by accident. And I think, it takes no more or less effort. It's just different. And that's okay. And we're going to see this lean more and more into the trades, especially. There's a lot of trades that are starting to launch multiple locations and not have an office. And I think it can be done. It's just a different level of effort and communication that we're just not used to. So I love how you went from the opposite. You went from more remote into an office, where I see others going the opposite way. And I think it just depends what you want for your company. There's no right or wrong way. It's just what you choose.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So as far as, building that culture, I love to see your journey of how it reflects. Do you have any other parting words for our listeners, because you were remote going to an office? Just any last words on tips or advice that they can use to help strengthen their recruiting process or their culture in their company?
I can say that I think that communication is super important for building your culture. And I think not just with your employees, but with your clients. And through our experience of making all these changes, I've just noticed what a difference I think it makes when I bring, last week a tech came in, end of the week. We had planned to do some training, and I could just tell they just needed to sit down and have a chat with me. 2 weeks before that, I reached out, talked to a client on the phone, something I don't normally do myself. And the client was just beaming to hear from me and have the conversation. And, I was only having the conversation because they had a tech change. And I wanted to make sure they were comfortable and understood what was going on. And through those experiences of connection, I think it really breeds culture, just taking the time, making the time, whether it's scheduled or not. One thing we do for culture is we share good vibes in our company. So every week we have a newsletter that's printed on pay stubs, and it just celebrates the good things that have happened in the company for the week, whether it was a client's feedback, a coworker's feedback, or someone from our leadership team just really wanting to share those good vibes with everyone else. And we print it, they have it in their hand, they can share it with each other, they can pick it up when they come in. Any opportunity, there's not enough opportunities to connect and just really lift and communicate with your team and your clients to build your culture.
I absolutely love that. The good vibes, sharing the good vibes. And I love what you just said. I think those were great parting words about there aren't enough opportunities to connect. But if we can find, like she just printed it on the back of the pay stub. Is that what you said? You printed it on the back of the pay stub or with the pay stub?
Yeah, it's our newsletter. We just good vibes. Okay. We list out what's going on and then training tips on the back of our pay stub. Awesome. It's our weekly newsletter.
So there are not enough opportunities, but if we look, where can we inject it in the places that we're already communicating or engaging with? Like, I love the fact that you were like, oh, that's great idea to do that every week. It's something that they get, it's something they expect to get because it's their pay stub. But to add that little like thoughtful newsletter on it is such a great idea. Because at the end of the day, we all crave connection. All of us. It's our human nature. We crave connection and we crave stability. So the amount of loneliness or connection we need or seek as entrepreneurs, imagine how much our employees are seeking or need that connection, whether it's with the company, with each other, with other employees. And so if you can just fill a little part of that connection through communication, it will greatly impact your culture. Love that tip. Okay, guys. So again, this is the YouTube WootRecruit channel. If you loved this episode, please make sure to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel or our newsletters. And again, we're WootRecruit, your go-to recruiting agency for the high turnover industry.